Hello and welcome to this e-learning on finding further funding. This is Module 3, where we'll explore how to build relationships with funders and investors. There are 3 modules in the e-learning for finding further funding. In this module on building relationships with potential funders and investors, your learning objectives are to identify where to build relationships with them. Before you get started, it's a good idea to take this rapid assessment to identify as a team your competencies for communicating and mobilizing resources. Doing your research and networking to find funders and investors is vital for connecting with the right people for your team and business. One of the ways of doing this is to be visible. To be visible, you can add details about your innovation team's venture onto key platforms. These range from general platforms to ones which are specific to decarbonisation, energy and environment, and mobility. Additionally, there is an increasing number of solution-specific events which you can attend. Building relationships with potential funders and investors takes time. Being visible enables you to start exploring, validate your problem and solution with a broader audience, and build your network. Check out the Switzerland Global Enterprise website to find sector-specific trade fairs where you can also showcase your solution. To know how to build relationships with funders and investors, it's valuable to know how they're evaluating you, as they're listening to you in conversation, in pitches, or reading your information pack.
You see how they show up daily, you see how they solve the problems. I don't know, before COVID, that was before COVID. I don't know how it currently works. But you co-sitting with them as investor, and you can see how they deal with the dramas. Do they show up? What time do they, how they look, and as a result, it's actually de-risking your investment in them later on if they decide to get venture capitalist investors, because you've seen how they work. And by being in that ecosystem, in an incubator and accelerator, they actually can start seeing, are the founders coachable, how they look for advice, how do they listen for advice, how do they implement this. As an investor, you spend so much time, it's not just investing money and forgetting, you actually are looking and helping them to solve the problems and things. Market is big enough, then it doesn't matter how many competitors are there. Mm-hmm. Strong enough team because they can deal with the difficult issues, and a good enough idea that's have they tested, have they validated it.
Funders and investors are exploring if you're a collaborative, coachable team to see whether to invest in you. Being a coachable team with strong founders means that you have complementary skill sets that match the solution being built and the market being disrupted. Here's an overview checklist of the information that you need to have. The common complaint from funders and investors is that innovation teams don't have this core business plan information ready, up to date, and accurate. This information shows funders and investors very clearly what problem you're solving, for whom, and how you'll solve it. So have you thoroughly validated and verified your solution through testing? Funders and investors really want to de-risk their investment and make a decision about whether to fund you, knowing that you've consistently done this. Why is it so important to know you've been validating the problem all the way through your solution development? Well, it means that you recognize the potential of your solution and can consistently answer the questions: is there a market for it? What's the size of that market? Is there potential to grow the solution? So what sets your product and approach apart from other similar products? More specifically, how much value does your solution give to your specific target market? Remember, the innovation comes about because you know what the problem is, who has it, and how your solution truly creates that value. Finally, based on how innovative your solution is and how it adds real value to your potential customers, What is it that sets it apart from competitors? You need to be consistently pitching your solution in formal and informal settings. Your pitch deck will typically run in the following order so that it consistently tells funders the story about your journey to turn your solution into reality. Even with this checklist, it's easy to make common mistakes when pitching for further funding. Know these common mistakes so you don't make them and lose out. Building a relationship is reciprocal, and it's part of your own due diligence with the funder or investor to ask them questions. Here are some that you can ask to ensure that they have all of the right information to make their decision about you. You're here in the Living Lab integrative process, getting ready to deploy.
That's really important in terms of finding further funding to define which source of funding you are looking for. Depending on the funder, they have different criteria. That's really important to match their criteria. And also in terms of a researcher that you will partner with, that's really important that you have a good fit with the researcher, that you think that they really understand your needs and they are specialists in their thematic, because there are lots of different researchers working on specific thematic, and you need to really be sure about the match between the researcher and also the match between the source of finding.
Congratulations on completing the third module in this e-learning course. Keep your eyes on the goal, which is to use the further funding you're securing to scale up your prototypes and MVP and get them to market so you're part of the decarbonisation success story in Switzerland. If you have any questions, please don't hesitate to contact us. Any feedback from you on what we can do better is widely appreciated. We look forward to seeing you soon.